What if I told you that a single city, smaller than most modern towns, has been conquered more than 40 times? Jerusalem, a name that echoes through the ages, a holy land yet drenched in blood. In Hebrew it's Yerushalayim, in Arabic Al-Quds, in Latin Jerusalema. To billions, it's sacred ground. To history, it's a battlefield that never truly rested.
From Egyptian pharaohs to Babylonian kings, from Roman legions to Crusader knights, every empire wanted Jerusalem.
Why? Because here lies the intersection of three great faiths and three visions of the world. Each one claiming divine right, each one leaving scars on its walls. Even the stones of the city seem to whisper, "We've seen it all. Prophets walked here, kings ruled here, armies bled here." And yet, people still come, still pray, still fight for it. As one historian once wrote, Jerusalem is not just a place, it's an idea that refuses to die. To understand why Jerusalem became the center of endless struggle, we must go back. Back to when it wasn't yet holy, just a small hilltop town in the land of Canaan.
Before it became sacred, Jerusalem was almost invisible.
Just a tiny hill town in the land of Canaan, surrounded by stronger neighbors. No grand temples, no armies, only shepherds, traders, and mud brick homes.
Yet from this modest hill would rise a city that changed the world. Archaeologists call it Ur-Salim, mentioned in Egyptian records around 1900 BC, a city ruled by local Canaanite kings paying tribute to pharaohs. It wasn't mighty, but it was strategic, sitting between Egypt and Mesopotamia. Whoever controlled this ridge controlled the trade routes of the ancient world.
By 1000 BC, a new power rose, the Israelites led by King David.
According to the ancient text of Samuel, David captured the city from the Jebusites and made it his capital.
Not because it was rich, but because it was neutral, not tied to any tribe. That made it the perfect symbol of unity.
Here, David's son Solomon built the first temple, a home for the Ark of the Covenant.
For the Israelites, this wasn't just a political center, it was where heaven touched earth, a place where God's presence, or Shekinah, was said to dwell. From a hill of shepherds to the city of a king, Jerusalem was now holy.
But holiness brings attention, and attention brings conquest, because when one people calls it the city of God, others will one day claim the same.
But Jerusalem's peace would not last. Empires were rising, and the city's holiness was about to be tested by fire. Jerusalem had a temple, a king, and a god. But greatness always attracts attention and enemies. In 586 BC, the Babylonians came. They burned Solomon's temple to the ground, exiled its people, and carried off the sacred treasures. For the first time, the city of God was left in ashes. Decades later, hope returned. When the Persian king Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon, he allowed the exiles to go home. They rebuilt their temple, smaller, humbler, but alive again.
This moment was remembered as divine mercy, recorded even in the book of Ezra.
But peace, once again, didn't last. First came the Greeks under Alexander, then the Romans, disciplined, relentless, and unforgiving.
By 63 BC, General Pompey marched into Jerusalem. For Rome, the city wasn't holy. It was just another prize on the map.
Then came the year 70 AD, a date that burned itself into Jewish memory. Roman legions under Titus destroyed the Second Temple. Flames rose higher than the city walls, and with them the hopes of a nation. All that remained was a single section of stone. Today, we call it the Western Wall.
Rome won the war, but not the idea. Jerusalem's meaning kept spreading, now through a new faith rising within the empire, Christianity.
A faith that claimed its founder had walked these streets and changed time itself. From the ashes of the temple came a new belief, one that would soon make Jerusalem holy again, but for a different reason. Somewhere under Roman rule, a new faith began, small, quiet, and dangerous. Its followers believed that Jesus of Nazareth was the promised Messiah. And that right here, in Jerusalem,
He was crucified and rose again. A single event that would turn this city into the heart of a new religion.
For the Romans, this was rebellion. But for the Christians, Jerusalem was proof that death could be defeated.
By the 4th century, when Emperor Constantine converted, the empire itself adopted Christianity. He ordered churches to be built where Christ had walked, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Now, Jerusalem wasn't just the city of David, it was the city of Christ. Pilgrims came from every corner of the empire, walking barefoot to touch the stones.
And for the first time, Christianity, once hunted, became the hunter of belief.
But power changes everything. New faith, new rulers, and soon a new force would arrive from the desert, carrying the message that would again reshape Jerusalem.
In the 7th century, a new revelation spread from Arabia, Islam. Within just decades, Muslim armies united under faith swept across empires.
When Caliph Umar bin al-Khattab entered Jerusalem in 637 AD, the city surrendered peacefully. No flames, no slaughter, only negotiation.
According to early Muslim chronicles, Umar prayed outside the Christian church so it wouldn't be turned into a mosque later.
A sign of respect that defined the early Islamic rule. Jerusalem was to be protected, not destroyed.
A few decades later, Caliph Abd al-Malik built the Dome of the Rock. Its golden roof dominated the skyline, marking the spot where Muslims believed the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. For Islam, Al-Quds became the 3rd holiest city.
For over 4 centuries, Jews, Christians, and Muslims coexisted here. But coexistence was fragile, and across the sea in Europe, rumors were spreading.
Rumors that would ignite one of the bloodiest chapters in human history. And so began the age of the Crusades, when faith, ambition, and revenge all marched under the same cross.
In 1095, Pope Urban II stood before a crowd in France and called for holy war.
His words promised forgiveness, glory, and a path to God. Thousands answered, nobles, peasants, even criminals, all marching to reclaim the holy city.
The First Crusade stormed across Asia Minor and reached Jerusalem in 1099.
After a brutal siege, the Crusaders broke through the walls, and what followed was slaughter.
Contemporary Muslim and Christian sources alike describe rivers of blood inside the city.
Jerusalem was now in Christian hands for the first time in centuries.
But conquest brings arrogance, and arrogance invites revenge.
From the east, a new name was rising, Saladin, the man who would take it back.
Jerusalem had fallen and risen again. But this time, 2 great civilizations were colliding head-on.
In 1187, the world turned its eyes east again. From the deserts of Syria and Egypt rose a leader, not a barbarian, not a conqueror for gold, but a man of discipline and faith, Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, or Saladin.
He united the Muslim world and promised to reclaim Jerusalem, not for vengeance, but for peace.
At the Battle of Hattin, Saladin crushed the Crusader army. The true cross, the symbol of Crusader faith, was captured.
Then his forces marched toward Jerusalem and the city surrendered.
No massacre followed. Instead, Saladin allowed Christian civilians to leave safely, even protecting holy sites.
Even in Europe, Saladin's mercy stunned his enemies. Chronicles wrote, "He showed the virtues we forgot." It was a victory not just of swords, but of character.
But peace in Jerusalem never lasts long. Within a century, the city would once again change hands, from sultan to sultan, from empire to empire.
By 1517, the Ottoman Turks under Sultan Selim I had taken Jerusalem.
Under their rule, the city was rebuilt, its walls restored, and its holy places protected.
For nearly 400 years, Ottoman rule brought a relative calm.
For once, the city breathed. Jews prayed by the Western Wall again. Christians celebrated Easter. Muslims ruled from the Haram al-Sharif.
3 faiths sharing one sky, still divided, but alive.
But peace is fragile. When empires fall, cities like Jerusalem are the first to feel the cracks.
In 1917, during World War I, British forces took Jerusalem from the Ottomans.
General Allenby entered on foot. Out of respect, he said, for the Holy City.
But his arrival marked a new era, European control and new ambitions.
The British promised a home for the Jews, the Balfour Declaration, but also pledged to protect the Arab people.
2 promises, 1 city. You can guess what happened next. As the world plunged into another war, Jerusalem became more than a city. It became a question no one could answer.
After 1945, everything changed. The Holocaust pushed for a Jewish homeland.
In 1948, Israel declared independence and war broke out.
Jerusalem was divided, west and east, Jewish and Arab, wall and wire.
Since then, the city has seen wars, treaties, uprisings, and peace talks, each claiming justice, none finding it.
For every stone rebuilt, another was broken. But Jerusalem is more than what divides it, it's what survives it. Through every empire, every war, every wall, Jerusalem never disappeared. It has been burned, rebuilt, conquered, and mourned. Yet its stones still ring with prayers from synagogues, churches, and mosques.
Jerusalem isn't just history, it's humanity's reflection.
Every belief, every wound, every hope carved into stone. And maybe its lesson is simple. The holiest place on earth will only find peace when we do.